Hey everybody, it's your old pal Tom here on the Tom Gulley Show. This time, let me tell you about Homicide, Life on the Street. An absolutely amazing television show that just doesn't get the amount of due that it should have coming its way. I'm going to tell you all about it, and I'm also going to recommend to you that you binge watch it, like I'm doing for about the third time. You can watch it for free on Tubi. I think I forgot to put the link in our show description. I'll do that after the show's over, but you can find it on Tubi. You're smart. You know how to do things. I shouldn't have to tell you, but I will, and I'll make it easy for you. Of course, we do the cold open for our audio podcast listeners, so that they don't hear the songs that I'm about to play right when they start playing what should be an audio podcast. It would sound weird to hear 6 or 7 minutes worth of admittedly incredible music that's all about me and the show. And this time the cold open is really a cold open. Here in Dallas, we have a cold, severe, terrible weather warning until Tuesday. It'll be in the teens, which Dallas is not used to. I grew up in Indiana. We call this spring, but the biggest problem is that the power lines here are not prepared for a 1/4 of an inch of ice, and so I've gotten 17 warnings about the power going out. So if the show ends in the middle, just because of that, that's what it's going to be. But Homicide, Life on the Street, if you've never seen it, you are missing out. I'll get into it more and more and more, but this is just an amazing television show. The writing is amazing. The acting is amazing. The cinematography is amazing. So if you're a person that likes, I don't know, Law and Order or Blue Bloods or CSI or Criminal Minds, this one puts it all to shame. Puts them all to shame. With that being said, I think we should get to a couple songs from our music director, Leon Kennedy. If you're listening in audio podcast form, just fast forward through them if you don't like music, or if you don't like this music. But you really are probably going to like this a lot. And I love these songs because they're about me. So, start off with a brand new one. I just got this one. And it's about the show. It's about when people donate large sums of money, I give them the point. I point at them. Or I put the picture up where I point at them. And that's what this song's about. But when we return, let me tell you about a truly remarkable achievement in episodic television, Homicide, Life on the Street.
There's a room with a restless air, voices rising everywhere. Most fall wide or miss their mark till one cuts through and stops the spark. No long road, no winding tale, just the right thought set to sail. The room goes still for half a beat, then the band comes in complete.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with a swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with a swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you. Some press hard just to be heard, dressing noise up into words. But Mr. Gulley lifts a hand and the room falls in with a band. No flourish, nothing grand, just a thought you band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it left.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you. Trumpets rise, the rhythm swells. Sax is no when time it tells. Every note knows when to stand and when to leave it in Tom's hands. Yeah.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it left.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it left.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you. If Tom was down in Texas, would he podcast with a smile? If he was in Ohio, could he fly? Behind his desk, wherever, can he see us through the screen? Would we be on the same football team? And when he comes around, the stadium's fill up fully. They scream, "Is that him, Mr. Gulley? Is that Tom? It's Tom Gulley." When Tom drives to the city, all the pretty girls come about. Tom Gulley's airwaves a merciful shout. And when Tom parks his Jag in a space that's looking safe, all the men wish that they could be in his place. And when he comes around, the stadium's fill up fully. They yell, "Is that him, Mr. Gulley? Is that Tom? It's Tom Gulley." I never know the words to say for Tom to look my way. Sitting in my place, wasting space for Tom to go far. Popping some pills for the man with the Letterman star. And if Tom came to your country, would you keep him for a while? Surrounding yourself in his familiar smile. And when he comes around, the stadium's fill up fully. They shout, "Is that him, Mr. Gulley? Is that Tom? It's Tom Gulley." They yell, "Is
Hey everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking? Let me tell you about Homicide, Life on the Street, an episodic television criminal detective police drama that really is about 57 levels above anything else you've seen. If you've seen The Wire, if you've seen Oz, it's that good. And it was on network television. If you like Law and Order, nothing against Law and Order, nothing. But Homicide: Life on the Street was much more character driven. And the characters were amazing. They were portrayed by just incredible actors with tremendous scripts. And you can see this for free, all of it on Tubi. And I'll put the link to that in the description after the show. I should have done it beforehand, but I forgot. Because we're dealing with some weather. That's why I've got my one of my many warm Columbia fleecy things on here now. Before we get going, do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell. Do all those absolutely free things that you can do. They only cost you a click to help out our little show with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-knowing algorithm. Plus, we do have the super chats, we have memberships, we have gifted memberships on our YouTube program. Everything's in the description, including the PayPal, where you give the most, I get the most. Google don't get nothing. They don't get nothing. Plus, you can go to the TomGulleyShow.com. It's all in the description of our YouTube show. There's some curated podcasts in audio form there. Plus, our merchandise store, where you can get top quality name brand items that'll add a charm and glow to any room. And yeah, that's about it. A little something for the effort. That's all I'm saying. A little something for the effort. Yeah. And with all that being said, let's go to our chat room very quickly. Sparse today. I guess there's football on. Paused Up Patriots here. He says, hey, Tom. Good to see him. Guido Samurai says, party can start. I'm here. It's always a party here on the Tom Gulley Show. Gene Genie says, hey to the room and Mr. Gulley. You know we do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent sources. The chef is here. Always good to see the chef. And Gene says, I never saw this show, so I don't have anything to add. Well, then you, Gene, can learn all about it. It's amazing. And when I said earlier that nothing against Law and Order, there's actually a crossover episode of Law and Order, where Lenny Briscoe and they all come to Baltimore to get a suspect to transport to New York. Very, very, very good episode. But I would say that Law and Order is way more predictable than Homicide: Life on the Street. It's also way more plot driven. Way more plot driven. And the cool thing, one of the many cool things about Homicide: Life on the Street is that the characters of this show were the real story. And we'll get to all of those in just a second. Homicide: Life on the Street. American police drama chronicling the work of a fictional version of the Baltimore Police Department's homicide unit. It ran for 7 seasons, 122 episodes on NBC from January of 1993 to May of 1999. And then there was a TV movie, Homicide, the movie, which served as the series finale. The city of Baltimore pretty much is a character in this show. And that's one of the more unique things about it. It's all about Baltimore. The series was created by Paul Atan. I knew I was going to mess that name up. A guy named Paul. But most important, it was based on David Simon's book, Homicide: A Year on the Killing Streets. Many of the characters and stories used throughout the show were based on events that were depicted in this book. And it's Paul Attanasio. That's as good as I'm going to get it. It was highly critically recognized. I'll get into all that stuff a little bit later. In 2013, I'll just pull this one out of the hat for you. TV Guide ranked it number 55 on its list of best TV series of all time, which could be shocking to some people because a lot of people maybe have heard of this show, but I hear from people all the time, I never saw it. I've never seen it. I don't know anything about it. And you're so missing out. You really are. And you need to go to Tubi and see all these episodes for free. But as I mentioned, it was adapted from a nonfiction book by Baltimore Sun reporter David Simon, based on his experience following a Baltimore Police Department homicide unit in 1988. Now, David Simon became a consultant and producer with this series, and he was most interested in debunking the kind of image of American police detectives. In TV shows, police detectives are usually portrayed as these noble characters who care, deeply about the victims. And David Simon believed that real detectives regard all this violence and mayhem as just a normal aspect of their jobs. And they were more working class than they were white knight defenders of justice. Well, David Simon sent the book to film director and Baltimore native Barry Levinson. And Barry Levinson is pretty well known. He got an Academy Award for directing Rain Man. He did Diner. He did The Natural with Robert Redford. Good Morning Vietnam, perhaps, with Robin Williams. Many, many outstanding films. And Simon hoped that this book would be developed into a film, but Levinson said, you know what, this is probably better for television because the stories and the characters could be developed over a much longer period of time. And that he also, Barry Levinson, thought a TV adaptation is going to bring like a fresh, original take on the police drama genre, because the book written by David Simon just absolutely destroyed a lot of the myths and sort of previously held notions of police drama by highlighting the fact that cops don't always get along with each other. And criminals, guess what? They occasionally get away with their crimes. So he approached screenwriter Paul, difficult to say last name, Atanasio, with the material. And Homicide was Paul's very first foray into television writing. All episodes of Homicide display the credit created by Paul Atanasio at the end of the opening sequence, a credit which Eric Overmyer and James Yoshimura dispute on the DVD commentary to the season 5 episode, The Documentary, claiming instead the show was created by Tom Fontana and James Yoshimura. The series title was originally Homicide, A Year on the Killing Streets, but NBC changed it so viewers would not believe it was limited to a single year. And the network also thought the use of the term life would be more reaffirming than the term killing streets, which I don't think that's quite so crazy. Levinson was indifferent to the change. He felt that viewers would probably just refer to it as Homicide, which is kind of the truth. The opening theme music was composed by Baltimore native Lynn F. Kowal, a graduate of the Peabody Institute of the Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, a very prestigious university. So Homicide was trying to provide viewers with a no-nonsense glimpse into the lives of inner-city detectives, as opposed to many, if not all, television shows and movies involving the police. Homicide initially opted for sort of a bleak realism in its depiction of the job at hand, portraying it as repetitive and spiritually draining and a threat to one's psyche, their soul. Often glamour and glory free, but nonetheless a necessity. And in its attempt to do so, Homicide developed a trademark feel and look that totally distinguishes itself from contemporary shows of the time and ever since and before. For instance, the series was filmed with handheld 16-millimeter cameras, almost entirely on location in Baltimore. It also regularly used music montages, jump cut editing, and 3 times in a row repetition of the same camera shot, particularly during crucial moments of the story. You know, I did it because he deserved it. I did it because he deserved it. I did it because he deserved it. Stuff like that. Very innovative, very unlike anything you've ever seen. The episodes were also noteworthy because they would weave as many as 3 or 4 storylines within a single episode. Everything about this show happens fast, except on those few occasions when something is very slowed down and very dramatic. It really makes the dramatic, slowed down parts much more impactful because the camera's always moving. The people are exchanging dialogue very quickly, like a real conversation. NBC executives often ask the writers to focus on a single homicide case, which, you know, obviously didn't go over quite as well. Obviously, show producers kind of said, no, that's not what we're doing here. You don't get it. Despite premiering in the coveted post-Super Bowl time slot, the show opened up to lackluster ratings, and cancellation was an immediate threat. But the show won 2 Emmy Awards, one for Barry Levinson's direction of Gone for Good and Fontana's writing of 3 Men and Adina. And the success of another police drama, the more sensational NYPD Blue, helped convince NBC to give it another chance beyond the short. It was a truncated 9-episode long first season, which surprised me when I was binge watching. I'm like going through and, whoa, we're on to season 2? What's going on here? And by the way, I should confess, I was a frequent watcher of Homicide, but I didn't pick the show up until I think the 2nd season. And then I watched it very regularly, very, very regularly. Because remember, this was back when you couldn't just watch it again on demand. You had to see it or you didn't see it. And I was, I was a young man, 30 years old. I was going out, I was doing things, I had girls and, things to do. But I still watched it. Homicide consistently ranked behind ABC's 2020 and CBS's Nash Bridges in Nielsen ratings. But despite the poor ratings, reviews were consistently strong from the beginning of the series. Commentators were especially impressed with the high number of strong, complex, well-developed, and non-stereotypical African-American characters like, oh my goodness. I'm going to go through all the characters here in a second, so don't get too bored. Pembleton, Lewis, and Giardello. The police department scenes were shot at the historic City Recreation Pier in Fells Point, which is a neighborhood in Baltimore. There's the outside of the station house, if you will. Although NBC occasionally pressured the show's producers to write happy endings to the homicide cases, the network gave an unusual amount of freedom for the writers to create darker stories and non-traditional detective elements, like unresolved cases where criminals escape. Nevertheless, in its attempt to improve Homicide's ratings, NBC often insisted on changes, both cosmetic and thematic. For example, by the beginning of the 3rd season, talented, but let's just say unphotogenic veteran actor John Polito had been dropped from the cast, which is too bad because the guy was an amazing actor. However, his character, Crosetti, Leaving the series actually was a watershed moment in many, many ways early in the series development. Let's see here. The reality of Homicide's low Nielsen ratings hovered over all things. However, and it always left the show in a precarious position. It also had a harder time gaining a large audience because fewer viewers were at home watching TV on Friday nights, like I was. Despite this, the network managed to keep what TV Guide referred to as referred to this show as the best show you're not watching on air for 5 full seasons and 7 seasons in all. In July of 1977, NBC gave series producers an ultimatum to make Homicide more popular than Nash Bridges or face cancellation. And when this goal was not reached, the studio gave serious consideration to canceling the show. But a number of shocks at NBC increased Homicide's value. Among those were the loss of Seinfeld and the $850 million deal they needed to keep ER from leaving the network. Reruns of Homicide at one time were syndicated on Lifetime and Court TV, as well as the all-crime television cable station Sleuth, and re-aired on WGN America. They've re-aired on TNT. I'm putting my hand up. When I was working for Turner at Cartoon Network, there's a little peek behind the curtain. When you worked for Turner Entertainment in Atlanta, every single person, including secretary, you name it, had a television in their office or cube or whatever it was, and it had 250 cable outlets on that television. And I would watch Homicide again on TNT. Episodes of Homicide is re-aired, in fact, on TNT as part of several crossovers the series had with Law & Order, for which TNT owns the broadcast rights. And in these cases, both crossover episodes re-aired back-to-back. Its reruns were recently televised on the Centric channel, but all 7 seasons are available on DVD. There's one set that includes season 1 and 2, but additional sets contain 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There is a box set shaped like a filing cabinet that has an additional disc containing Homicide the movie and those relevant Law & Order crossover episodes. And if you didn't have that, you had to rely on the Law & Order recap clips on various DVDs. But the show actually spawned changes in the real-life Baltimore homicide unit. As seen on the show, the unit... this is such... I've got just a hint of this. I'm going to go ahead and give away the farm here a little bit. And hold on. I've got him here. Here we go. This is the Captain Giardello. Well, Lieutenant Giardello, sorry. And another character on the show. You see those names in the background? Under each detective was the name and the case number of a homicide they were working on. The ones in black were closed cases. They'd been solved. And the ones in red were still unsolved. During the show, when they got a case, you would see close up that case number and that name being written in extremely good penmanship, by the way, by someone. Only occasionally would you see one of the actual detectives writing it up there. Usually it was the same person. And you never saw that person, except once in a while you'd catch them walking away from the board or something, but you just saw the hand and the marker. Okay? So as you saw during the show, they usually used a dry erase board to visually track detectives' progress at solving crimes. But after the show began to air, the Baltimore Police Department discontinued that practice, believing that board concentrated on clearance rates for crimes and it had a negative impact on publicity. But later on, it was brought back by the insistence of the actual detectives working the cases. Now let's get into the characters. Oh boy. Oh boy, we're in for a ride here. I can tell you this. Most of the television shows that I review, most, not all, but most, do not have a separate page for each character. Homicide, Life on the Street, does have a separate wiki page for each character. And that's because this show is so brilliantly character-driven. And these are in no rank of importance. In fact, this first character I'm about to show you, Beau Felton, played by Daniel Baldwin, that's right, Alec Baldwin's brother. He was only on the series the first 3 seasons. And some of these, if not all of these characters, came back for the movie, the de facto season, show finale. So there's Beau Felton, kind of a guy that was going through trouble with his wife. She took his kids, she disappeared, she came back, he was shot in an episode, and then disappeared after season 3. I'm not going to spoil the story too much for you, but... And then this guy. Yes. Detective John Munch. Some of you are saying, no, Tom, you're confused. You're addle-minded, you old man. No, I'm not. The character of John Munch, who is fascinating to me, was born on Homicide, Life on the Street. And if you think John Munch is an antagonistic, persnickety, if he's hard to get along with on Law and Order, you need to watch Homicide. Because there are times when you're watching Homicide, you want to strangle him. He is absolutely obstinate on this show. But his character went off to Law and Order and Law and Order SVU. Now, I'm going to point this out, and as I have probably before on this show, the character of John Munch has appeared, not Richard Belzer, the actor and comedian who played him, but the character of John Munch has appeared on more television series than any other character in the history of American television. We probably need to just devote an entire show to that, but it's the truth. And he's played, of course, as I mentioned, by Richard Belzer, who, if you've never seen his stand-up comedy, you need to. You need to. I actually saw Richard Belzer for the first time doing stand-up comedy on HBO on a Young Comedian special in 1978. And been a big fan of Richard Belzer. Very, very big fan of Richard Belzer. The next character we'll talk about here, and this was, if there was a breakout star on the show, it was Andre Braugher as Frank Pembleton. Now, the press says he was the breakout star. I disagree with that. There were so many great actors and actresses. I'll get to one of them in just a second. There's Andre Braugher again. He is a very interesting character on the show. He is stubborn. He wants to work by himself. He has absolutely no emotion. He will say anything to anyone's face at any time. And it's a character that is, by the way, if you want to quit smoking, don't watch Homicide. Everybody's smoking on this series, except for a few characters. And Frank Pembleton here is smoking almost non-stop on the series. He is constantly smoking. Absolutely constantly smoking. It's actually kind of funny. He's a heavy chain smoker. But he is an in-your-face character. Totally in your face. And it's magnetic. You'd think he would be a repellent character. He's not. He actually believes in the way that he's acting at all times. And that's his justification. is I don't care about anything except putting these people behind bars. I don't care. You know, aren't you going to come over to so-and-so? No, why should I? You're not my friend. I work with you. You know, yeah. Andre Braugher. And frankly, when you see him in anything else, at least when I saw him in anything else, he sadly passed away a few years ago. I can't see anybody but Frank Pembleton. Even though he's a great actor, the first couple of things he says, that's Pembleton. No, okay, now he's a great actor, so I'm into his other character now. But right at first, Clark Johnson portrays Meldrick Lewis, who's from Baltimore. He used to play ball. He is a little tough to describe because he gets very emotional. He is very opinionated. But there's certain things he's pretty easygoing about. And he has a kind of a viewpoint on his job that, you know, certain people deserve to be in jail and certain people don't deserve to be in jail. And he's got a big heart. But at the same time, he can be merciless, absolutely merciless. And you find out things about him along the way during the series that sort of leak out, that he has had a rough life. Rough life. Now this is Al Giardello. Oh gosh, is this guy interesting. Giardello, yes, he speaks Italian. Why? His parents are Sicilian. It's played by Yaphet Kotto, the legendary actor, and his character, a little upscale. He's can be very charming. He's got to wrangle all these different personalities and detectives, and he's old school, and just cares about getting the job done, but he's not afraid to chew somebody out. He's not afraid to show somebody they're being an idiot. He's also not afraid to put two people that not only hate each other as detectives, but that are having a legitimate, heated, absolutely unsolvable beef with each other. He'll put them together, make them ride around in a car for 2 or 3 days together. He doesn't care. Now, I spoke earlier about the brilliance of the actors on this show, and we'll get to more of that later. But this is Melissa Leo, and she plays Kay Howard, who starts out as a detective. And although she's a woman in the detective squad, her clearance rate, in other words, the number of murders you solve, is 100%. And she's very not only proud of that fact, she's also proud of the fact that it isn't going to change. She's got really good instincts. She's extremely thorough. She researches everything. And she's funny. And she is nobody's fool. She doesn't let anybody push her around. She later takes the sergeant's test and becomes a sergeant. Basically a supervisory detective over the others. And a tremendous actress. She's won an Academy Award. You've seen her in lots of movies, I'm sure. She was in The Fighter. She's been in everything. And just a tremendous actress. And one of the episodes, she's like, if I've had enough of this place, I got to get out of here and see some sunshine. So she goes up to this fishing village where her father and her brother are living. A murder happens while she's there, and the local police know she's a homicide detective. They haven't had a murder in years, and they ask her to solve it. It's quite a character, and believe me, ever since I've seen her in Homicide, I've looked out for movies that she's in because she's outstanding. She's just brilliant. We mentioned John Polito, who played Steve Cressetti, and he was stupid for them to write him out. I mean, look what happened with NYPD Blue and Andy Sipowicz. Does Andy Sipowicz look cosmetically attractive? No. But he became one of the greatest characters in TV history. And I'm not saying Crosetti would have, but he was a great addition to that show, the cast, the ensemble cast. And they wrote him out of it. They wrote him out of it in a really controversial way that divided all of the detectives. And anyway, John Polito, amazing actor and part of the cast. This is one of my favorite characters on the show. This is Tim Bayliss, who's a detective, played by Kyle Secor, who you see in various movies and TV shows now. And he's another just super talented actor. He is a rookie in the very first episode of Homicide. And so he's the new guy. And he gets paired up with Frank Pembleton, the guy I told you about earlier, that doesn't want to hear from anybody, doesn't really need a partner. Bayliss had been on the mayor's security detail and was promoted to detective. And he badly wants to be a great detective. And he's working with Pembleton, who is a good role model in that regard. They're oil and water at times, but as the series progresses, they become friends. And that is something that nobody would have ever thought could happen to Frank Pembleton. Bayliss also is a character that has a conscience. He struggles with issues of good and bad and a lot of other things, protocol and following the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law. He's also a guy that has a lot of trouble with women. A lot of trouble with women and other people as the series goes on. Another character in the first 3 years of the series is the amazing Ned Beatty. You may remember him from Deliverance, but he's incredible in everything that he was ever in. And he plays Stanley Bolander, freshly divorced after a 30-year marriage, and he's trying to get back into the dating pool, and an interesting character. He's seen a lot. He's partnered with John Munch, and probably the only detective in the entire squad that could put up with John Munch's absolute, constantly annoying personality and just gives it right back to him all the time. All the time. He's the voice of reason a lot of times, but he is very old-fashioned and doesn't get a lot of things from, modern, let's say, culture and things of that nature. This would be Megan Russert. Boy, did she have a ride. Played by Isabella Hoffman, which many people might recognize from the situation comedy Dear John. She's a great actress. She was like, she was in like Navy intel and stuff. She's really smart. She's not going to be a pushover, but she is very compassionate at the same time. She worries about people. And she started off as a detective. Then she was promoted to captain, and she was promoted over Giardelli. Promoted over him, which he told her, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad that they did this, because she was promoted because she was a woman. And they wanted things to look good for politically correct reasons. And then after being threatened to just be kicked out of the Homicide altogether, she later rose back to the rank of lieutenant. Yes. Another one of my favorite characters, oh boy, Reed Diamond. You probably have seen him on a lot of other TV shows and in movies. He's outstanding, but he's really great as Mike Kellerman in this series. He got brought in after a couple of characters, the Alec Baldwin character, the Ned Beatty character got written out of this series. He was brought in, and he is freshly divorced. And it seems like kind of an amicable divorce, but he goes a long way in terms of he's younger. He's got a sense of humor. He's very, very, very smart. He's really smart. And he's just kind of fit like hand in glove from the first day. He's hard to hurt his feelings and gives as good as he gets, I guess I'd say. This is Michelle Forbes, who played Juliana Cox, chief medical examiner. She's just wisecracking. You may recognize her from the Star Trek franchise, especially Next Generation. She's great. Max Perlich played J.H. Brody, who started off, the first time he appeared, he was working for a TV station. And he got some footage of a murder that the station wanted to run before showing the police because the actual suspect was in the footage. And Brody there said, no, we need to show this to the police. That we're just going to tip off the guy that we know who he is, and the police know who he is. And the station said, if you give that to the police, we'll fire you. Well, he gave it to the police. And so later on, the squad hires him as a crime scene videographer. Everybody treats him like dirt. I mean, like absolute dirt. I mean, just saying the worst things to him, pushing him out of the way, you name it. But little by little, he starts, because he is a videographer, he starts noticing things that nobody else notices. And eventually kind of earns everybody's respect. This is Peter Garrity plays Stuart Gardy. He's just an old curmudgeon. I think they were trying to make another Bolander out of him. I don't think it worked that well myself. This is one of my favorite actresses ever, Callie Thorne, and she plays Laura Ballard in this series. And she's a detective that comes on and she's another one that just, I don't care if I'm a chick, I'm not taking any of your nonsense. Now let me just show you some of the guest stars that they had on this show. There were a number of recurring cast members. I won't get into all of those, although I probably should. Christopher Maloney from Law and Order played a recurring cast member, which was a bounty hunter that would come around now and then. But guest stars, you want guest stars? I'll just mention one guest star that I didn't get a picture of here, but it's from a really, really good episode called Full Moon. And Psychobilly legend, the Reverend Horton Heat, was a character. He didn't have too much screen time, but for those of us here in Dallas that love the Reverend, I saw him and I'm like, that's the Reverend. It's the Reverend Horton Heat. Not to be confused with the Reverend Bob Levy. Shout out to Bob Levy. Anyway, guest stars. Oh, how about Steve Buscemi? Yeah. How about Bruce Campbell? Yes. How about Vincent D'Onofrio, also from the Law and Order franchise? How about Edie Falco, for you Sopranos fans? How about Paul Giamatti, who's in every movie ever now? How about James Earl Jones? Sure. I mentioned Christopher Maloney just minutes ago. There he is. Anybody here like Lost? Yes, Terry O'Quinn. Anybody here like comedy? Chris Rock, a guest star. Here's an Academy Award winner, J.K. Simmons. He's in everything too. Oh, an incredible episode I just saw like last night. Lily Tomlin. Lily Tomlin is a guest star, and the episode that she's in is amazing. It's really good. Kate Walsh, for friends of that one medical drama. Sure. Here's one. Robin Williams got an Emmy nomination playing the husband of a murder victim that the family was in Baltimore vacationing. and his wife is killed when they're getting mugged right in front of him and his kids. It's really good. Elijah Wood also, yes, guest star on Homicide. The mayor of Baltimore and the mayor of Maryland made brief appearances in the episode about the death of one of the detectives, appearing at a memorial press conference. Let's see here. Got all the episodes and the seasons. I'm not going to go through the plot too much because I don't want to spoil it for you. You really have to watch this series. You really, really do. Let me just see if I can pull up here. They don't give the rankings. I could give you the, well, let's see here. In season 1, the season premiere had 28.9 million viewers. Season 2, it was 24.9 million viewers. Season 3, that's when they moved it to Fridays, 11 million. Quite a drop off. Season 4, 13 million. Hey, we're doing better. Season 5, 11 million. Hey, we're doing not as good. Season 6, 11.4 million. And then season 7, 8.5. Not as good. Not as good. I could go through all the nominations for awards that this series, accrued. But let's just give you the wins. Directors Guild of America, 1998. Outstanding Directorial Achievement in a Dramatic Series, won. They won for the Edgar Awards. For Tom Fantana won for that. The Humanitas Prize, 1999. They won that. Let's see here. Primetime Emmys. First season I mentioned, they got one for directing and for writing. They also won, Andre Braugher won for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series in 1998. That's a big one. That is a big one. They also won an Emmy for Outstanding Casting in a Series. The Q Awards. They won the Founders Award. Andre Braugher won Best Actor in a Quality Drama Series. They also won for Best Quality Drama Series. I'm passing up billions of nominations, by the way. Billions. The Television Critics Award, Program of the Year, 1996. Outstanding Achievement in Drama, 1996. Outstanding Achievement in Drama, 1997. Individual Achievement in Drama, Andre Braugher, 1997. Same things for 98. Outstanding Achievement in Drama, Individual Achievement in Drama, Andre Braugher for 98. The Writers Guild of America, just the Writers Guild of America. Television Episodic Drama in 94 and in 95. Yeah. I'm leaving some out here. Better go back to my list because, let's see here. Yeah, they were the Television Critics Outstanding Television Critics Award. Excuse me. I will learn to speak in 2026. Television Critics Award for Outstanding Achievement in Drama for... Sorry, I'm trying to get some different graphics up here for you. 1996, 1997, 1998. First drama ever to win 3 Peabody Awards for drama. 1993, 1995, 1997. In 1997, the 5th season episode Prison Riot was ranked number 32 on TV Guide's 100 Greatest Episodes of All Time. This is a show that if you haven't seen it, I just can't tell you how badly you're missing out. If you like television, and I do these Sunday shows for me, really, so we can cover TV shows. We're doing Gunsmoke next week. If you like television, you are sure to like this program. You're absolutely sure to like this program. There's Steve Buscemi in a very, very good episode called Endgame. As you might imagine, he plays somebody really creepy. Really, really creepy. So, oh my gosh, we should get to the chat room. I've neglected the chat room. A pox upon me for a clumsy lout. I've neglected the chat room. Oh no. Guido Samurai said, as soon as you said crossover, I needed a let me tell you about Scooby-Doo in my life. I don't think they ever crossed over with Scooby-Doo. Although Scooby-Doo did do crossover. They didn't do crossovers as much as they had guest stars one season or two. They had Don Knotts. They had Sonny and Cher. I can't remember the rest of the ones they had, but they had big crossovers. Guido Samurai said, good morning, Vietnam. Great flick. Yes, well, Barry Levinson, instrumental in Homicide, directed that movie. Terry says, interesting, attractive man. I would ask who he's talking about, but my knowledge of Terry Nee would indicate that he could be talking about any man. J.C. Vass said that show really changed police. The show that really changed policing is Reno 911. J.C. Vast is apparently a guy that just doesn't really want to be on the chat room anymore. I tell you what, until J.C. tells where he's from, I'm not acknowledging anything else he does in the chat room. And then probably after a certain little while, we'll just, because he doesn't seem happy here. And I'd like to save him from himself, really. I think that's my goal in life today. Sky is here. He says he's late. Nobody's ever late to the Tom Gulley Show. Prettiest mouth in Hollywood. I don't know who he's talking about. People greeting Sky. We do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent sources. Do we need to play the Terry Nee song since he's here? And since, see, Leon Kennedy was thinking when he created the Terry Nee song, because it only lasts like 60 seconds or something. And it's, Guido Samurai says, Scooby, I thought, had a bunch of crossovers and cameos with other tunes. Maybe Scooby had a bunch of like Hollywood stars and TV stars on it. I don't know if those were de facto crossovers. I mean, the Harlem Globetrotters, I think, was pretty famous for Scooby-Doo. But I think Rumpled Trenchcoat is here. I would have been here sooner, but I had to shovel my way to the desk chair. Oh, yeah. Imagine where you're at. There's a lot of snow. Dark Lilith says Scooby-Doo had like Batman and Dick Van Dyke and such. That is correct, Dark Lilith. That is correct. Good to see Rumpled Trenchcoat. He's a TV guy. I don't know what Rumpled Trenchcoat's experience with Homicide is, but if you haven't seen it, it's on Tubi for free. Homicide, Life on the Streets. You gotta see it. And to my understanding, and I don't know that this is true, and I didn't research it very much because I'm going to look at it after I'm done binge watching. I'm in the middle of season 4, episode 17 right now. I think Reed Diamond and Kyle Secor have a podcast about the show. But that's all neither here nor there. Let's play the Terry Nee song, shall we?
Sits in the chat like he paid a fee. Shades indoors, who can he see? Asks the name, he points at me like, come on now, I'm Terry Nee. Head full funk, 0 degree. Smooth brain, confidence, guilt-free. You ask again, he shrugs carefree. Buddy, I'm Terry Nee, he's Terry Nee. Who's Terry Nee? He's Terry Nee. Who's Terry Nee? Say it once, say it twice with me. That's the whole damn song. Terry Nee.
Hey, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell. These things are free, 100% free. All they cost you is a click, and they just help us out so much with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-knowing algorithm. Plus, also, in addition to, as well, we have the memberships, we have the super chats, we have the gifted memberships. If you go into our YouTube description, there's the PayPal. You give the most, I get the most. Google don't get nothing. Plus, there's the TomGulleyShow.com, where there's episodes, articles, you name it. And also, there's where you can find our merchandise store filled with top-quality name brand items that are a focal point of praise and pleasure. And I think today, if my memory is correct, 25% off and free shipping. I might be wrong. Don't hold me to it. Check it out, check it out, check it out. Anyway, check it out. Anyway. So, oh my God, what's this? My best friends in the world are unaware I do a show. I'm doing a show and it's just loaded up with, hey, I do a show. I think you will find this is true. If you ever do a show, the people in your life, your family, your friends, your whatever, they don't watch or listen. It's just random people on the internet. They love it. They love it. Let me see here. Okay. Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka. There it is. Homicide LOR. There we go. Life on Repeat. They joined in August of 2024. They've got a season 2. The boys are back on the street. That was July, this past July. Life on is a new episode dropping soon. They're going episode by episode, it looks like. Well, I'm glad to see they're doing that. And they're awesome. And it's also really, super good for me that they don't have as many Twitter followers as I do. But I bet you they're personal followers. Oh, yeah, they're personal followers or with other handsome, well-known men with accomplishments in the world. And so... But I'm going to be listening to those as soon as I've done binge watching The Thing with the stuff in The Thing, because that's what I should be doing. All right. Rebel Trenchcoat says, I would have been here. Oh, I got that one. He says, I thought it was a very good show. Honestly, I know this is a little controversial, but I liked it better than The Wire. I did too. I liked it better than The Wire. And I love The Wire. But Homicide is just such a good show. And I'm in the fillet, if you will, of Homicide right now. I am in the season 4, episode 17. I'm right in the, I can't wait for this show to be over so I can crawl into a warm bed. I know it's only 3 p.m. where I'm at, but it's so cold. Dallas is not made for this weather. It's just not. And electric heat, there's just no reason for electric heat. If you're not doing gas heat, what are you doing? Why are you even messing with it? Let's see. Guido says, I've never seen The Wire. Well, it's good, but watch Homicide Life on the Street first. Terry Nee, has got dancing to his own song. Guido Samurai has got the fire on. Gene says, I never saw The Wire, too. Well, watch Homicide Life on the Street, Gene. You can see it on Tubi for free. Oh, Terry Nee says Ned Beatty had the best mouth in Hollywood. Not as far as you know. Can you see Ned Beatty on the set of Deliverance going, guys, my script's a little weird here. It looks like pages 63 to 65 are missing. What are we doing on the... Anyway. Guido Samurai said, I just binge watched Rome. HBO was possibly the best show I've ever seen. Rome is really good. I won't deny it. But I think you need to watch Homicide. Got to check out Homicide. It's on Tubi. Tell them Tom sent you. Tubi is free. It's an app. If you got a Roku TV or Google Chromecast or even on your computer, you can watch Tubi for free. Dark Lelid says, it looks gorgeous outside, but the roads are just garbage. Oh, Dark Lelid, there's a giant pileup down on Woodall Rogers right now. Huge pileup. I saw the tweet right before I did the show, and so forget it. Let's see here. Rumpled Trenchcoat. Oh, thank you so much. $5. Rumpled Trenchcoat. Very generous, man. He says, for a bitter cold Sunday, if you like television and you like Columbo, and even if you don't, Rumpled Trenchcoat, a Columbo podcast, I got to tell you, go to the YouTube page, watch an episode, and it'll give you the title. I think it's on Tubi as well. Go watch the episode, then listen to the Rumpled Trenchcoat commentary on that episode. It's so good. It's so much fun. And you learn a lot about each episode. It's a television watcher's best friend. CIA says, good afternoon, Tom. Homicide was superior to The Wire. There you go. I agree, CIA. And CIA, thank you so much about not mentioning the goings-on today at Emirates Stadium. Thank you. I appreciate that. Gutless Wonders. Zubamendi out. Arteta out. Get Emery back. We'll win the title by 12 points every season. Why don't you attack against the good teams? Terry Nee says, I pay $600 a month for electric. You know why, Terry Nee? You got a squeaky door. That's why. Fix that door up. You'll be fine. Rumble Trenchcoat said, we had a steam radiator heat in our old house. It was so cozy. Exactly. Rumple Trenchcoat, I grew up, one of the homes that we lived in early in my life in Indiana was like a Civil War era house. I mean, it was an old farmhouse, old. And we had radiator heat. And once we learned how to bleed the radiator, you could go over to that thing and it would darn near burn you when you touched it. But the heat that it radiated was so warm and made you feel warm. And electric heat, no matter what temperature you've got it set for, you just don't feel warm because it just blows out air until it's kind of that temperature. Gas heat's the best, though. Gas heat is just, oh God, it's good. And that's what we had in Annapolis, the rest of the places I lived. Yeah. Citizens Gas, I think now called Citizens Energy in Indianapolis, is not a public utility. It is a public charitable trust. The people that created it put he's old guy back 100 years ago, put giant amounts of money in a trust. And so that interest offsets the cost of gas to the public. It's very inexpensive. Very inexpensive. Rumpled Trenchcoat also says he has been a Gullerino for 21 months. And he says, hey, I had one of these too. Thank you, Rumpled Trenchcoat. Rumpled Trenchcoat, one of the most generous people that comes into our show, and I appreciate it greatly. And Terry Nee, also very generous. It's just that Terry Nee gives 99 cents every time he comes in here. And he does that because he knows it's infuriating to some extent, but it does add up. I have to admit, it does add up. But it's the least amount he can give and get under my skin. And it's very effective, I have to admit. It's extremely effective. Terry Nee says, Columbo always reminds me of watching it with Mom. Yeah, our whole family used to watch all of the NBC mystery movies, but certainly Columbo. If, just one last thing. You said you put your drink down on the edge. Wouldn't it have left a circle? Let's see here. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, me too, Terry. It's a nice memory. Well, that's another great part of a Rumpled Trenchcoat, a Columbo podcast, is it's Rumpled and his sister. So there's a real family feel there. There's a real Walton's kind of Partridge family. CIA says Homicide was like the Pep of managers, and The Wire was like the McKell of managers. Different processes. Stop it. And the worst part is that Michael Carrick still remains undefeated against Arsenal. And he ain't the answer. And Zubamendi, what are you doing? Your team just scores, and I've never rated Zubamendi. I'd sell him today. And I don't like Miles Skelly either, while we're on the subject. Terry Nee says, Tom grew up in the dark ages. Well, it's not altogether untrue. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, our house was built in 1850. The radiator got so hot we'd sometimes have to open a window in the room. I know. And then, like, first thing in the morning when they would turn it on before it got super hot, we had those big wrought iron radiators. You know the ones I'm talking about that look like furniture and they got designs on them. And there's two things you could do with those. One was in the morning before it got so hot it would burn you, you could sit on it to get warmed up. The other one was if you went out and played in the snow, which we did all the time in Indiana, and you got inside, if you had like cloth mittens or maybe sometimes your socks or certainly your hat or your scarf, you put them on that to dry out. And they dry out in like 20 minutes and they'd be stiff and get them on. Anyway. CIA says electric heat is a dry heat. That sucks the air out of the room. It is bad, CIA. It really is. Terry Nee says they don't have 49-cent super tips. Well, if they did, you'd be wearing those babies out. If they did, if they had 1 cent super tips, if Google could somehow get 70% of 1 cent, baby, you'd be at the front of that train. Anyway, I'm Sky says I'd rather have electric heat over no heat at all. Well, yeah, that's true. CIA says I don't donate. I always bring a smile to Tom face, which is just priceless. Oh yeah. Let me just say that today's match, 70 minutes in, we were down 2-1, and I just went, forget it. I'm done. If you don't care, why should I care? And I just said, forget it. Forget it. If those guys went out there and attacked the whole game and really looked like they were giving it their all and playing football and not chess, I would watch it, even if they lost. But Arteta out. You heard that here first. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, oh, that sounds fancy, Tom. Our radiators look like Fat Albert accordions. Well, that's what ours look like too. Kind of. You know, the kind with the... But ours were so old that they had these sort of fake, when they were cast, like trying to be designs or something on them. Really old-timey. They were very, very old-timey. Terry Nee says, football or football? They're both football. They're both football. Squash or squash. You know what I'm saying? Tomato, tomato. Anyway, Homicide, Life on the Street, that I can't even remotely... And the thing of it is, as you all know, I was highly quoted in the introduction of the recent book by Ed Robertson, The FBI Dossier. I can't put the FBI on the same dramatic level as I can Homicide. But the TV show The FBI, back in the 60s and 70s, it was a show that was on for 9 years, I think, and nobody talks about it today. And it was a very durable workhorse of a program. And it gave, Robert Duvall. I mean, I can do it on a list of people that got their first notable TV appearances on that show. And it was dramatically good. There's no question about it. Sometimes better than others. But it parallels Homicide in that nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. People start talking about the best TV series of all time. Breaking Bad, Sopranos, Dexter. Homicide's in that conversation. I'm sorry. It just is. And the fact that, number one, not enough people talk about it. And number two, you can see the whole series for free, including the final movie on Tubi. Get on it. Get on it. Get on it. Anyway, I know you guys have football to watch. I know everybody's cold. I appreciate you being here today. As I mentioned, like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell. Oh, yeah, coming up on the show. Tomorrow night, there's some people in the room here that are going to remember when Sears Roebuck used to have a catalog that you'd go through, certainly the Christmas wish book, and then retail outlets everywhere, every farm town, everywhere there was a Sears. Everywhere. There was thousands of them, thousands upon thousands of Sears department stores all over this great big beautiful land of ours. Now, you know how many there are? 5. We are going to talk about the birth, the growth, and the demise of Sears Roebuck. On Tuesday, we will cover the Oklahoma City bombing. On Wednesday, we will profile legendary photographer Ansel Adams. On Thursday, the inexplicable, unsolved disappearance of Jennifer Kessie. And then 1 week from today, and that's if we don't add another show for Saturday, which we always do, kind of. 1 week from today, we will do the TV and radio series, Gunsmoke. So there you go, Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke. And I'll be able to play a little bit of the Gunsmoke radio, I think. I think the copyright laws will allow me to do that. I know I'm going to play the opening. It's got one of the best openings of all time. Guido Samurai says Breaking Bad has terrible writing, awesome cinematography, though. It's got awesome cinematography. Some of the writing isn't bad. It's got good acting from time to time. But Breaking Bad, at a certain point, almost gets predictable. And at a certain point in that series, as good as it is, I was like, okay, how's Walter going to screw this up? For no reason at all. I was like the Mike Ehrmantraut of that. And then you had to screw it up for no reason. Rumple Trenchcoat says, could buy a dang house from a Sears catalog. You could buy a house or a car from Sears. As a matter of fact, I'll just tip my hand a little bit here for tomorrow's show to get people interested in it. Kenmore was spawned by Sears. I think most people knew that went to Sears. But also Craftsman Tools and a little insurance company called Allstate was started. A whole bunch of other companies were started by Sears just to be their division of the place that did that thing. Yeah. I Am Sky said, Mr. Robot was top tier cinematography. Oh, so was Archer then. Archer's got great cinematography. Empty. Jeannie says, my mom lives in one. It was from the 1930s. Yeah. Sears sold houses for a long time. In fact, I think there's whole neighborhoods that are Sears houses. We'll get into it tomorrow. Sears did so many amazing things. And my mom, we had 6 kids. She would order almost all of our clothes out of the Sears catalog. And I'm sure a lot of our Christmas presents. And then we would drive to the Sears to pick them up. And she'd have all these paper packages and stuff, and we'd take them all out to the car. Sears was a big deal. And how it got started is interesting, too. And we'll cover all that tomorrow. Noble Trenchcoat says, I knew the Kenmore and Craftsman. I had no idea about Allstate. That's pretty wild. Oh, there's other ones. There's 5 or 6 other ones. Some of them I've heard of, some of them I haven't. I Am Sky says, isn't Archer a cartoon? Yes, Archer is a cartoon. I was kind of joking. Jean Jeannie says, the road she lives on has 7 left. I dated a gal one time. It was when I was young. She was way older than me. She was the ex-wife of one of my employers. She was quite attractive. And she lived in something, I think it was called a Voltron house. I want to say it was called Voltron, although that may just be the evil ruler of a planet in a movie I saw. Let's see. Indianapolis. Anyway, Lustron. It's called Lustron. That's it. Lustron. Okay, so Lustron made these houses that were made 100% out of steel. And they were kind of gasketed together. Their original, and this gal had one of these houses, and their original appliances came with a dishwasher that you could also wash your clothes in. But all the walls were steel. They were sort of corrugated a little bit. But the walls were not like steel, just basic metal showing. They were coated in sort of electromagnetic paint that had this really cool finish on it. So the walls looked cool. They looked like a George Jetson type of house or something. Prefabricated, porcelain enameled, that was it, steel homes, with 150 built in Indiana between 1948 and 1950 to combat housing shortages. These 1,000-foot, rust-proof and maintenance-free homes were designed to be assembled with simple tools. Several still exist in Indianapolis. And built-in cabinets, unique, almost often problematic seal-mounted radiant heat system. I'll tell you that's true. I'd get up in the morning sometimes over there, and it would just be, yeah. Anyway, there's still a bunch of them around. It's a unique time in my life. Let's see. Heard the paint on those old steel barns were made of milk. Sears barns, excuse me, says Guido Samurai. I have no idea. We'll cover it tomorrow. I'm Sky says, whoosh, that one went way over my head. Terry Nee says, will you cover the man from page 602 in the Sears catalog? It's possible. Positive Patriot says, hell yeah, brother. You're a dirty dog there, Tom. Good on you. They'd been divorced for 3 or 4 years, and it was after I was done working for him. But I met her while I was working for him, and they were still married. And I thought, hey now. Anyway, she was a nice lady. She was a very nice lady. I could say more, but I won't. All right, then. Homicide, Life on the Street. Can't recommend it enough. I got to close this down, do a few things. I will put the Tubi link in the description of this show and on the podcast for audio. And then I'm going and I'm watching some heavy duty Homicide, Life on the Street. Season 4, episode 17-ish, I think's where I'm at. So I hope everybody stays warm and, join us for Sears, Oklahoma City bombing, Ansel Adams, Jennifer Kessie, and Gunsmoke next week. And if there's something you're dying to have me do a show on, let me know. Tom at the TomGulleyShow.com. Or just do what Crappy at Life did the other day and donate heavily in the chat room and ask me what you want me to do a show about. I should take more programming notes from him because, by the way, like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell. Please, please, please. There's 14 people in here right now. That show did pretty good yesterday, the USS Liberty. So, anyway, and go to Homicide, Life on the Road, which is at Homicide LOR on Twitter. Listen to that show and you tell him Tom sent you. Tell him Tom sent you. Yeah. Terry Nee says sweaty socks. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm Sky with the $1. Thank you, Sky. I appreciate that. Very nice of you. Guido Samurai says, there it is, but I'll donate first. What? What do you want? Oh, Terry wants a show on sweaty socks. Maybe socks, I would. I need to do a show on snow blowers. Apparently those are super interesting. I'm putting it on my list. Snow blowers. Okay, snow blowers. I learned a little earlier today. Those are riveting entertainment. Rumple Trenchcoat says, take care, folks. Stay safe and see you next time. Yes. All right. Well, with all that being said, Rumble Trenchcoat is here, and I've got a new song. So I'm playing that new song at the end in honor of Rumple Trenchcoat. And that old clock on the wall says it's time for me to amscray. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And with all that being said, Homicide, Life on the Street. Till next time, we'll see you next time.
There's a room with a restless air, voices rising everywhere. Most fall wide or miss their mark till one cuts through and stops the spark. No long road, no winding tale, just the right thought set to sail. The room goes still for half a beat, then the band comes in complete.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with a swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with a swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you. Some press hard just to be heard, dressing noise up into words. But Mr. Gulley lifts a hand and the room falls in with a band. No flourish, nothing grand, just a thought you understand. When the rhythm nods along, you know you've landed something strong. at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.